A lot of the technical ingenuity behind Radix can be explained by Cerberus, its consensus protocol. But what is a consensus protocol? A consensus protocol is a set of rules and procedures that synchronize a network of nodes into an agreement. It coordinates nodes to get them to either agree or reject something together. One good analogy would be on board games, where players would agree on a set of rules ahead of playing. It is commonly agreed that you would win a game of Uno by getting rid of all your cards, having previously called Uno once you had only one left in your hand. If you unilaterally decided that you won mid-game with still 5 cards in your hand, other players would call you out. Easy, no? Well, a node consensus does the same. A node cannot call for a decision without getting the majority of other participating nodes in that network to agree. Beyond that, a rogue node, which we would define as a node taking a decision on its own and against the agreement of the majority, would most likely be banned from the network. The most well-known consensus is the Nakamoto consensus, used by Bitcoin. It combines the proof-of-work consensus algorithm, and we will come back to that later, to the Byzantine fault-tolerance peer-to-peer network. That Byzantine system relies on a voting system for consensus with a rotating election of leaders. A malicious leader could be removed from the network by a vote from the other nodes. But it creates a scaling issue. The introduction of a proof-of-work consensus mechanism removed that voting process and replaced it with a mining competition. This adds a probabilistic aspect to the protocol. Cerberus, the consensus protocol powering Radix, is a BFT-style consensus. BFT-style consensus can be considered more deterministic. In complicated terms, Cerberus runs BFT consensus processes on an extensive set of instances, also called shards. Sharding is thus the optimization of large databases by splitting data from a larger database table into multiple smaller tables. Imagine you have a huge box of Lego bricks. There are so many bricks that it's too hard for you to build something by yourself because there are just too many to handle at once. Lucky you, you've got your friends around and they're willing to help. Instead of all of you trying to dig through the whole big box together, you decide to split the box into smaller boxes. Each friend gets one smaller box of Lego bricks to work on. Everyone builds a part of the big project with their own smaller box. When everyone is done, you put all the parts together to make one big awesome Lego creation. That's the equivalent of sharding. Cerberus works in a similar way, which means that the more nodes you add to the network, the higher the throughput. This makes Cerberus the only consensus protocol capable, in theory at least, of supporting the global financial system on a decentralized network. Let's now come back to another important notion we touched upon earlier, the proof of work. Proof of work is the most well-known Sybil resistance mechanism. It is meant to defeat Sybil attacks. In a Sybil attack, a single adversary controls multiple nodes in a network, primarily to subvert its functioning. Proof of work is famously used by Bitcoin as it introduced that very concept. Miners or validators verify transactions through solving mathematical problems for each block. The first to solve that problem gets the block prize. It is often referred to as the most secure and decentralized system, but it comes to the detriment of execution speed. Transactions are slow to be validated, and gas fees are expensive. A competing Sybil resistance mechanism is the proof of stake, notoriously used by Ethereum for a few years now. In that system, users stake a certain number of tokens to receive validator privileges. The validation of transactions is then randomly assigned to eligible validators. But the more tokens staked, the likelier that user is to win the raffle. Validators are also expected to be active community members and are responsible for storing data. Discipline is maintained through the threat of token forfeiture in case of breach of consensus. This mechanism is deemed much faster, more optimal for scalability and cheaper, but not as decentralized or secured as proof of work. Solana also works with another mechanism, the proof of history. This adds a layer of time in the verification process, with timestamp added into the hash of each generated block. It usually works together with one of the previous two mechanisms. It is worth mentioning the proof of authority, often used by private or permission blockchains, such as the JP Morgan coin, that recently attracted some attention. Validators are there selected on the back of their reputation, meaning they often go through a background check. But this goes against the concept of decentralization. That's a wrap for this week. We touched upon complex yet extremely important mechanisms in crypto. This is only the tip of the iceberg. You could spend hours going through the model behind Cerberus, and it is honestly outside our own capabilities. We nevertheless hope it clarified a few concepts for you, and hope it lighted a spark of curiosity within you. If you have any questions or thoughts, please leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more educational content like this. Also, join our community on social media to stay updated with the latest in finance and investment. Your support means a lot to us. Thanks again for watching, and see you in the next video.